A cultural divide could lead to a formal split in the United Methodist Church.
Decades of disagreement over LGBTQ inclusion prompted a group of bishops to propose a literal separation within the country's third largest denomination. WRAL's Cullen Browder spoke with local pastors about the potential impact of a very emotional issue. Cullen?
Absolutely, David and Deborah. We're talking about a United Methodist proposal to allow more traditional views on sexuality to separate, which the authors feel is in the best means to resolve our differences, allowing each part of the church to remain true to its theological understanding while recognizing the dignity, equality, integrity, and respect of every person. While sharing the same name and stained glass, United Methodist Church congregations can differ on some beliefs.
We have to have the courage to do what is right, and that may mean that we're not unified.
Anytime we are so deeply conflicted as a church, it is sad.
Not allowing regional factions, the Global Church Conference still opposes same-sex marriage and ordained LGBTQ clergy.
We feel called to be a fully inclusive church because we don't believe that anybody should be excluded or marginalized or pushed to the side based on who they love.
Jason Butler serves as pastor of Raleigh's Open Table United Methodist, a church that has bucked the conference directive.
I think there will be a lot of fracture. I mean,
he supports separation that allows more traditional Methodists to break away, while his church's inclusion can be carried out in policy.
We will grieve the loss of anyone to go. At the same time, there are very real differences.
As executive pastor of North Raleigh United Methodist, Alan Felton serves a congregation of conservative and progressive viewpoints.
When we start talking about officiating at same-sex ceremonies, that would be an issue that there would be more division on.
If the church chooses division, Pastors Felton and Butler hope for common ground.
The hope is that it's not a sort of divorce.
And hopefully there would be avenues of partnership around mission.
Now, again, this is just a United Methodist proposal so far. It will be voted on in May at the church's global conference. To see reaction from the bishop of the North Carolina Conference, you can go to our story at WRAL.com. David.
Cullen Browder, thank you.
United Methodist Church could potentially be making some big moves. The church is considering splitting because leaders can't agree on several issues involving the LGBTQ community. News 5's Amanda Van Allen brings us reaction from leaders here in Northeast Ohio.
Tonight I spoke with a retired United Methodist reverend. He says he hopes this plan passes so the people who want to be more inclusive can do just that.
The position the church has taken across these 4 years represents, in my view, a judgmental and horrendously hurtful interpretation of scriptures.
Retired United Methodist pastor Reverend Kenneth Chalker says he's long been an advocate for the LGBTQ community and also has served the church for more than 3 decades.
To be able to express this interpretation in context and lift people up and affirm them is a wonderful thing.
Friday, the United Methodist Church came up with a potential plan to split into 2 denominations, one that supports same-sex marriage and gay clergy, and another that does not. The plan would allow the more traditional Methodists to keep their church properties and grant them $25 million.
It recognizes the ability of a local congregation or annual conferences to make a determination on their own without reprisal and financial punishment.
While Reverend Chalker says he will be moving away from the more traditional teachings, he knows not everyone in our area will do the same.
Very much split over this issue. They would be a representation of the global church, unfortunately.
You hate to see a church family break up like that.
Reverend Joe Cherry isn't a Methodist. He's a gay Unitarian Universalist pastor. He says he wishes the Methodist Church didn't have to break up over LGBTQ issues.
My queerness has been put on trial every election. We've been pointing it as the reason that our country's going to hell in a handbasket, and now it's happening in the churches.
The final vote to split or not to split happens in May. In Lakewood, Amanda Van Allen, News 5.